today's video I start a couple of Clubhead models, Dracula and Nosferatu, so both vampires. And because they're both vampires, they have pretty similar colour palettes, so I've decided to include the two models together. Enjoy. Okay, so going to work on the skin tone for the vampire models using this AK Pale Blue. So I'm going to work on them basically at the same time because they're a very similar kind of colour palette anyway. So yeah, it's just like makes sense to me. So I'll probably put the two videos together as I work on these two models rather than keeping them separate. So it's called blue, it says pale blue and it's in the name, but it's very kind of in the middle colour. It's almost a little bit green as well, I would contend. And it definitely has a bit of grey as well. So I kind of feel like this is a good kind of medium for a vampire, I think. Should work out pretty well. I'm not going to worry too much about the white areas, because that's not detailed painting, that's just colour blocks. So if I go over that, it's no big deal. Same with the eyes. I'm going to probably paint the eyes blood red. At least for Dracula. I'm not sure about Nosferatu. Maybe I'll do the eyes different there to kind of distinguish between the two models, but I think like a blood red eyes still looks pretty cool for Dracula, even though having said that, it's not supposed to be a scary model as such. These are supposed to be more fun and cute, but yeah, I think I'll still probably go for a red eye, and going for a red eye definitely means that I'll want to give a few white coats before I paint the red, just to make the red really pop and show well. So yeah, quite happy with that skin tone. I think that should work quite nice. I'm going to do the coat in two colours, black on the back, but blood red on the inside. I think that should work pretty well. Definitely going to need more. So I published a Wonder Woman video which had some videos from the old setup, the Audro camcorder that I had, and the new Sony 8600 video camera. What you call a video camera, but it still looks very much like my dear old dearly departed dad's still camera from like 25-30 years ago. It just looks like it. Yeah, the difference in the colour profiles of the videos was quite amazing to me. I definitely am much happier with the colour. It looked quite washed out to me when comparing the two with the old camcorder that I'd been using for the last few months. So yes, I definitely think this should make a big difference to the quality of the videos I put out. And hair will be black as well. Yes, the audio setup as well seemed to work quite well. It was really nice not having to adjust all the audio levels in iMovie. I could just basically import the video and that audio was good enough. Or at least that's the way it seemed to me. So no doubt I will get feedback from people about the changes, and that's fine. Always appreciate constructive feedback. As you do when you have a period of reflection. I've obviously, coming up on the 1 year anniversary, been thinking of how this channel has kind of changed and grown from when I very first started. The different cameras I've gone through, the changes I've made to my work desk. Like I can see photos, because every now and then I take photos of how I've got my paints arranged and stuff like that, in case stuff gets moved and I want to put it back. I'm a little bit anal and attentive about stuff like that. And it's just interesting seeing over the year how things have evolved, and I've definitely learned a lot about like photography and a lot of the YouTube side of the channel that I didn't know before. So yeah. I mean, that's what you want from a hobby, really, is to learn things and experience things, and that's all good fun. Still looking so this has turned out not too bad. You can still see a little bit of layer lining, but I did do, big flat surfaces like the top of a head are just notorious for showing layer lines in 3D printing. So I did run some putty, and I've got 3 different versions of putty, and I've kind of been trialing them versus one another. And Deluxe Materials, the one that I used on this model, perfect plastic putty. Not sponsored, I don't have any sponsors for anything, but basically trialed a few different versions of putty, and that seems to give me the best results. So moving forward, I will continue with that one, I think. So I'm not going to do the blood red eyes, I don't think, on this model. So we'll just do more like a traditional white with maybe a black dot. I think should be fine. It's almost like elf ears. Everyone knows Dracula, but I must say I don't really know much about the story of Nosferatu, although, I guess there's lots of different vampires. So quite enjoyed the Underworld series of movies. Kate Beckinsale, was it, I think, was the actress. That's obviously the werewolves versus vampire battles and stuff like that. Especially the original movie I thought was very, very good. Like a lot of these kind of things, they tend to then try and milk the franchise for every dollar they can get out of it. I mean, even the second movie, to be honest, I really enjoyed. But they should quite often just stop there, but they never do. They want to get their money out of their franchise IPs, and fair enough. I mean, studios are there to make money, so. But yes, my point is more that I don't know much about the Nosferatu story. It's a fun collection though, this collection of Clubheads. So lots of variation. The zombie model by far has been the one that was the most complex. It just had so many different components to it. Like here we've got a shirt and pants, fine, but the zombie had a shirt and a tie and the jackets and the shoes, and it was just like the busiest base, like stop sign and fire hydrant and trash cans. So there was so many different colours that seemed to take forever, and I was like, oh, I need to get these done and dusted before the last role play for the year. Like, I can't take months doing this. There is a bit of a time limit. It's not weeks away, but it's still like not infinite time, and I'm like, I need to be getting on with these, cracking on. But thankfully some of the models are going to be relatively straightforward to paint. Like Dracula has a few more components. This has a couple of, like it's got rope and a cleat on the base, so a couple of components, but it's nothing on the time that the zombie took. And the mummy, of course, that was relatively straightforward. Even the Wolfman is going to be relatively quick. So some of these are going to be, you know, just a couple of videos, and then basically they will be done, which is a good thing. So I've got the Wonder Woman model to do, and I need to get back to Indiana Jones and want to finish him off. I do have, as you know, a public servant, one might expect, I do have a reasonable amount of time off over the Christmas period. Although having said that, there will be a couple of weeks there where I'm not producing any videos because the wife and I are going overseas to Malaysia for our Christmas holiday. We'll be over there during Christmas. So yeah, so there'll be a period of time there when there's no videos from me. But when I get back, I will have pretty much a lot of free time to work on models, and you know, the Clubheads will have been given at that stage, so I won't have them anymore, and the same with the Wonder Woman. Deadline is getting very close for that. Ladies' farewell is on the 9th of December, so you know, that's a hard date. I've got no choice, it has to be done by then. But yeah, so there is a science fiction kind of model of almost like Warhammer, that kind of genre of science fiction, like a lord in power suit armor on a rock kind of thing, that I've got teed up to work on next, and I think he's gonna look really cool, really impressive model. So work on him, and also, you know, as I say, I will definitely be able to finish off the Indiana Jones model. Need to attach his whip and work on that. But a lot of the detail painting with him has been finished. He's just had to be put aside because of other projects taking deadline priority. Alright, so I'm pretty happy with that tone for the skin colour. I think that's a reasonably good choice. Like I say, it's a little bit, it's called light blue, but I think it's actually more like a greeny grey, I would call it, than an actual blue. But I do think that that works quite well for this for the project for a vampire skin tone. I think that'll do nicely. So going to work on the clothing for the Nosferatu model, and this colour is called Royal Purple. It's a model colour by Vallejo, so gives a bit of colour to the model rather than it just being boring. And yeah, I think it should work well. It is quite a deep purple, although it's going on a white colour block, so second coat should make it look a lot deeper, I think, than it does now. Maybe give them some black shoes though, I think, so I'll leave the shoes. Apologies if you hear the 3D printer going on. I'm just doing a little utility item for myself. Basically going to do like a little chevron L shape that I can put down, so to remind me exactly where the video is recording to. I noticed with some of my Wonder Woman model shots, because it's a significantly bigger model than like these Clubheads. So with that, I noticed sometimes the area I was painting was kind of just almost going off screen. So I kind of need to get used to this new camera setup. And yeah, I figure I'll have a little guide which I'll put down. I did at one point actually, when I changed to the camcorder, put just like a little bit of red tape, masking tape, on the desk as like a visual reminder, which is fine, except that that is fixed, and you kind of want to have a little bit of flexibility with a bigger model to zoom out a bit, and with a smaller model like these to kind of zoom in a bit more. Like when I was working on these logos, I saw that on the viewfinder how you know, I really wanted to be zoomed in even more, but I was just a bit worried that if I did that, you know, once again, I'd start working off screen somewhere, you wouldn't see anything, and you just kind of get a recording of my hands moving or of the desk, which, you know, isn't very ideal. So hence why I thought, okay, well, what I want is just something that I can kind of move around. So a 3D printed L will, you know, kind of fit the bill, I think. And that way, when I'm setting up my zoom, I can just kind of put it in the corner as a visual references, you know, like you're recording to here. But these are the good problems to have when you got fancy tech and flash stuff to work with, and you want to get it to work as good as possible. Obviously you can have, you know, the most amazing video in the world, but if you take your model off screen, or if you spend too much time with your hand blocking the subject, you know, there's nothing that any camera or video can do about that. So it's kind of got to be a combination of the technology assisting you, but also, you know, not getting in the way of that technology. So it will be interesting to see how much of the 3D printer this new microphone picks up. I'm imagining it should be a fair amount, because the way that I've got it, I've kind of like got it suspended on my paint desk facing towards me, which is really out of the way of like reaching for paint bottles and stuff. It actually is in a really ideal sort of position, and it's not too far from the video camera, so it's easy to fit the cable. It came with like a curly cable, which was very, very short, but thankfully I did have a cable, the right sort of kind of 3.5mm audio cable to connect it to the camera. And the way that it is, it's kind of not only facing me, but it's also in the direction of the 3D printer, albeit that's about maybe 2 meters away from me. It is a bit of a distance, but it's still in that same direction, so it is facing that way. So I suspect that while it has done a really good job, I've noticed, of not picking up some noises like neighbours' dogs and things like that. I think I've mentioned it before, you know, like the audio was definitely picking up stuff I didn't want it to. Well, it's not doing that anymore, but I suspect it will pick up the printer because that microphone is orientated towards it. Alrighty, well that is Royal Purple, the first coat. So I'm just going to work on the Dracula model, doing like the inside of the cape and the jacket. Shirt will be a different colour and bow tie, but yeah, I wanted to use this game colour Bloody Red, obvious name association there. So yes, should look alright, I think. So the outside of the cape I've already done with the black. So I figured that I would give the contrast of the outside of the cape being the hidden and the inside being the bloody. So I've been having some heating issues with the new Sony camera, and so I've ordered a cooling unit. It's designed specifically for these kind of mirrorless cameras, and it slots into the back of the camera and charges off a USB-C cable and cools the camera down. So if you know anything about computers, the theory behind it seems to be very similar to like what you'd get on a heatsink on the CPU of a computer. It kind of draws the heat away, and also has a fan built into it, I believe, although it's up behind the camera, so I don't think noise should be an issue. Should be hidden away from the shotgun mic. So yes, that's arriving tomorrow from Amazon, as you do, and yeah, we'll get to play around with that and test it and see what sort of difference it makes. I mean, 13 minutes recording time is quite limited, to say the least. So yeah, as long as it kind of like doubles that out to half an hour or so, I'll be happy. Yes, we'll obviously do some tests and see how it goes. I am going to do the pants in black as well, but I figured I'd wait until after I'd painted the coat and the jacket, so it'll probably just be easier to do a nice thin black line. I really like the purple of the Nosferatu, but it's not a very easy colour to work with. Not purple I mean, but the type of paint. Like it's very translucent, almost like a fluoro thickness. So if you have a bit of, like in this example, the skin tone colour, in the wrong place, it becomes very, very hard to fix anything. You need to do many, many coats to touch up that area and get it looking right. So these colours, these solid colours, are much easier to work with and much more forgiving. The plan is also to give him like glowing red fluorescent style eyes. So I've painted a, I just can't get into that neckline there. It doesn't want to do it. I'll have to go over and touch up the skin, unfortunately. Just would not let me get in there. Yeah, so I've given the eye area a white Vallejo colour over the white Montmartre now, so it's had several coats of whites, so it's kind of ready for painting the final fluorescent colour as well. Yeah, things keep getting stuck. There's a lot of folds to the material and the design here, so not so easy for the brush sometimes to get in between the folds, but that's alright. I just had to go over on the skin a little bit, so I will have to do a touch up, but not the end of the world. There's a beautiful red though. Very happy with that colour. I think it works very well with the black. Plus also quite traditional colours, I guess, for Dracula. The YouTube algorithm tends to repeat a lot of things that you've watched before, which is a good thing and a bad thing, I guess. But in my particular case, you know, before I bought this Sony camera, I've been watching lots and lots and lots of videos, YouTube videos on cameras and which was the best camera and all this sort of stuff. And so when I looking at my YouTube when I'm watching, it's keeps recommending all these camera videos for me. And I'm like, well, I've bought my camera now. I don't think I'll be buying another camera anytime soon. So we can kind of move on from camera videos. Still watch the odd video on setting up the camera mat, but yes, not going to be buying another camera anytime soon. Just need a little bit more red. Bit more blood, that's what Drac said. Need more blood. Was mainly bubble. I do no pun intended. I do put these on a vortex mixer, shaker, to mix them thoroughly before I start painting. And I used to kind of give Vallejo a hard time. I was like, it's bubbly paint, it keeps on coming up with bubbles. But it may be more the vortex as well, and the way it agitates and mixes the paint, because I noticed with AK I get just as much kind of bubbles when I squeeze it out. I get bubbles form on the palette. So I think, yeah, it may actually not be Vallejo as much as it is just the way the vortex mixer shakes things up. We're nearly done. Once again, if I get a little bit of red on the paints, I really don't care too much, because when I painted it with black, it's very forgiving. So, you know, I see that there's a big smudge there, big blob of red all over the paint. So I'm like, I really don't care. That's fine. That's why I do things in a certain order. I try and make life as easy for yourself as possible, going lighter to darker, or situational, depending on where you're painting. I've printed out these little guides. Took very little time to create in Blender, and then even less time to print than it did to design the things. But I wanted something that was just going to sit on my desk that I could move easily. So like for a small model, I can kind of zoom in more, but it also gives me these guides remind me of not to move the model too far one way or the other way. So it just kind of assists me in focusing the model for you when I'm recording. And then, you know, for bigger models like the Indiana Jones, etc., Wonder Woman and that, when I'm more zoomed out, I can just slide them on the desk. So I think it should work quite well. Around the hand. You may be able to hear the printer printing away at the moment. For my my Pathfinder roleplay game, the character I play is a kobold, it's like a lizard man, mage or sorcerer in this particular case, but mage-like character, that type of thing. Anyway, he's just got the spell for flying. So I'm now making a new model for him. So when he's flying, he's kind of raised up in the air on like an exhaust cloud coming out from behind him. All a bit of fun, of course, but just a visual representation. So when I next go to Pathfinder, I can take that and say, oh, this will be when I'm flying, it's this model. Okay, well, that's a fair bit of red. So we're going to continue working on the Dracula model. Should be a relatively quick session, just doing the shirt, using this AK pastel pink colour. Should complement the red quite nicely, I think. Already have done a white colour block behind it, so shouldn't be too hard, and it's a forgiving colour. It's not like the purple on the Nosferatu areas where I have gone over a little bit. The pink should cover the red quite nicely still. Well, I mean, having said that, I will still need 2 coats. Most paints do, but yeah, it's just an easy colour to work with. So that's actually pretty much it. The first coat. So like I say, it's just the shirt, and you only see it from the front. There's nothing on the back. So short and sweet.